और भाभी कहीं दिखाई नहीं देते थे। आँख में भी जोर से लगने के कारण धुंधला दिखाई दे रहा था। फिर भी मैंने देखा भैया और भाभी कहीं नहीं दिखाई दे रहे। फिर भी मैंने रस्सी पकड़ के फिर से नीचे डुबकी लगाई भैया और भाभी को ढूंढने के लिए, लेकिन वो कहीं भी हाथ नहीं आए।
पुराना पुल था 140 साल के पहले का, ठीक है। तो मरम्मत हुई थी ना, अभी 6 महीने तक तो बंद पड़ा था। मरम्मत हुई थी, 2 करोड़ बता रहे हैं कि 2 करोड़ का खर्चा किया है। तो 2 करोड़ का खर्चा करने के बाद भी ये दुर्घटना क्यों हो गई? टिकट खरीद कर जाना पड़ता है मौत के मुंह में। देखो, टिकट पैसे देकर मरने गए थे सब।
Lima menit ataupun 10 menit sesudah kita keluar, kebetulan mobil barakuda itu keluar. Dan sesudah itu terdengar letusan-letusan, nggak tahu letusan apa, yang membuat mata pedih, tenggorokan sangat sakit.
Terlalu ini sih Pak, terlalu gimana ya, terlalu kasar Pak. Kalau orang Jawa ngomongnya kasar, terlalu apa, kasar lah gitu.
There's so many people. What are you gonna do with 10 people? And I had to like turn around and I told the crowd, you can't come this way. People are dying. Because I already knew how bad it was. And people were being so rude. And I had to tell them like, you can't come this way. And then it took so long for emergency services to arrive.
저희가 이제 10시쯤에 왔는데 저기 호텔 앞에서 이제 막 영화에서 봤던 장면들이 막 전쟁 났을 때 통제하는 거 있잖아요. 그런 게 실제로 벌어진 거예요. 그래서 막 사방에서 심폐소생술을 하고 있고 이제 그게 다 통제가 안 되니까 사람들은 밀려 들어오고, 그래서 아예 통제가 안 되는 상황이었어.
On the 30th of October, India witnessed one of the worst public safety tragedies in years. This is the site of the colonial-era bridge that collapsed into the Machu River, located in the town of Morbi in the state of Gujarat. The 754 feet long cable bridge was built during the British rule in the 19th century. Its width was just 4 feet. A major local tourist attraction, it was popularly called Jultu Pool, which means hanging bridge. It was reopened on the 26th of October after being shut for 6 months for a series of repairs. Orvea Group, the firm which repaired the century-old bridge, claimed to have spent over $241,000 on its renovation. The bridge reopened without a fitness certificate. eyewitnesses say there were more than 400 people on the bridge at the time of the disaster, whereas it had the capacity to carry only 150. 4 days after the 143-year-old suspension bridge reopened, several hundred people had gathered on it to witness the festivities of Chhat Puja, a popular Hindu festival. Around 6:40 p.m., the bridge collapsed. This footage seems to suggest the bridge was swaying, possibly because of the large crowd on it. The CCTV footage shows a group of young men taking photos while others tried to rock the bridge from side to side before they plunged about 33 feet into the river below as the cables gave way. Eyewitnesses described scenes of chaos as people clung on to the wreckage, waiting for rescue teams to save them. Many, including children, were swept away by the fast-moving water.
20 बरस की बच्ची थी, इसने जान गुमा बेटी चली गई। मेरी बेटी इसकी सगाई थी बाद में, मैंने 11 तारीख पे मैं क्या करूं, मेरी बेटी झूलता पुल के गिर गई, मैं क्या करूं।
मैं जब ढूंढने के लिए गया था ना रात को 1 बजे, तब पता चला कि वो अभी उसका बाइक मिला ना वहाँ से, तब पता चला कि अभी ये नहीं होगा इसमें शायद। फिर मैं हॉस्पिटल में चला गया ढूंढने के लिए, तो वो वहाँ मैच मिल गया एक, और बाद में वो गिरीश है ना वो 3 बजे मिला, और उसका बच्चा है ना वो मुझे 5 बजे मिला।
भूल से भी झूलता पुल का नाम बोलता है ना मैडम, तो मेरी बच्ची ना कांप उठती है कि मम्मा हम अब दूसरी बार हम नाना के घर भी नहीं आएंगे और झूलता पुल भी नहीं जाएंगे।
Indian Army, Navy, and National Disaster Response Force teams raced against time to find survivors as they carried out rigorous search operations on boats. Police have arrested 9 people on charges of culpable homicide not amounting to murder. Those arrested included ticketing clerks accused of letting too many people onto the bridge and employees of a firm contracted to maintain the bridge. Amid the chaos, this video of the managing director of Oreva, a Gujarat-based electrical appliances manufacturer that oversaw the maintenance work of the bridge, has gone viral.
The renovation work has happened according to our specifications. It means that nothing can happen to the bridge for the next 8 to 10 years.
He couldn't have been more wrong. The tragic incident has shaken the country. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the site and also met some of the injured in a hospital. Unfortunately, such tragedies are all too common. On the 1st of January, 12 people were killed during a stampede at the Vaishno Devi temple, a holy shrine in Jammu and Kashmir. 16 others were injured. In a New Year's surge, nearly 50,000 devotees had gathered inside and outside the temple. The disaster occurred around 2:45 a.m. Officials attributed the incident to a scuffle between 2 groups on a pathway leading to the shrine complex. Another accident at an Indian pilgrimage site killed at least 3 people and left dozens dangling in mid-air. It took place near the Trikut Hills in the Indian state of Jharkhand. About 48 people were traveling along a steep incline when 3 cars crashed into one another. The Indian Air Force deployed helicopters to facilitate rescue operations. The helicopters were used to winch stranded pilgrims out of the cars, while drones delivered food and water. The entire operation spanned over 40 hours. Faced with questions about the mishap, the state government blamed operating companies, alleging that its contract and license had expired in 2019. These horrific visuals caught on camera are from a fair in Mohali, Punjab. The swing can be seen spinning at a height of around 80 feet before it suddenly came crashing down with a thud. At least 10 people, including women and children, were injured. The operators of the spinning wheel fled the spot. They later told the police that the incident had happened due to a technical snag. Shocked family members, parents searching for children, a country looking for answers. On the 29th of October, at least 153 people were crushed to death during a crowd surge in South Korea. Most of the deceased were in their 20s. Tens of thousands of young people had flocked to Itaewon, a symbol of freewheeling nightlife in Seoul, after more than 2 years of COVID-19 restrictions. The partygoers, some still in their teens, were dressed up in Halloween costumes. But the night turned out to be truly frightful. Chaos erupted at 10:20 p.m. local time. Revelers poured into one particularly narrow and sloping alley, even after it was already packed wall to wall. A large number of people fell down. Soon, the street became filled with people crying for help. Emergency workers desperately sought to free trapped bodies. The paramedics were seen performing CPR on people splayed across the debris-littered ground. Volunteers also helped out.
이쪽에서 이제 길 트고, 여기 와서 이제 여기 시체들이 줄배했잖아요. 여기 줄배해서 여기서 누르고 해고 치우고 일로 내려가고.
As many as 100 people suffered from cardiac arrest after the stampede. It is one of South Korea's worst disasters and the world's worst stampede in decades.
할로윈 행사 축제 중 다수의 인파가 넘어지면서 참석 시민 다수의 사상자가 발생한 사고입니다.
다 거기에서 이제 우르르 하고 저도 끼어서 못 나가는 상태가 되니까 이거는 진짜 이러다 사고 한번 나겠다.
선생님은 그래도 좀 멀리서 보셨어요?
There was just obviously waves of people coming in. This is like the middle of Itaewon, so waves are coming in from both sides, and more people fell, and then I lost my friend.
At least 20 foreign nationals from as many as a dozen countries were among those killed in the crush. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol declared a period of national mourning while foreign leaders expressed condolences. This is Kim Boom-jin. The 18-year-old is a resident of Itaewon. He survived the deadly crowd surge, but he says recurring memories of the disaster have left him unable to eat or sleep.
네, 트라우마 때문에 지금 그날 이후로 이틀째 잠도 못 자고 있습니다. 그래서 기억 속에 떠올라서 이제 사이렌 소리만 들어도
Kim was among those who received counseling at a mobile clinic in Itaewon, run by the National Center for Disaster and Trauma.
다들 축제를 즐기러 갔었고 그 사건이 일어날지는 솔직히 아무도 있지 않습니까? 그런데 이것 또한 이제 국민들이 알아야 이 사건에 대해서 이제 다음에 또 이런 일이 일어나지.
Eyewitnesses have confirmed an apparent lack of police or security presence in the build-up to the crush. Moving to quell public outrage, the government has promised a speedy and intensive inquiry and called for tough new safety measures to prevent similar disasters. But the tragedy did little to prevent places like Japan and Hong Kong from continuing to hold large-scale Halloween celebrations. Another man-made disaster unfolded in October. This one in Indonesia. At least 135 people died in a stampede at the Kanjuruhan Stadium in Malang. It is being called one of the worst sporting tragedies ever. Following a loss by home side Arema to rivals Persebaya Surabaya, around 3,000 agitated fans poured onto the pitch. Police fired tear gas to disperse them. Hundreds of spectators were crushed as they tried to flee the overpacked stadium. A fact-finding team set up by President Joko Widodo found that the tear gas was the main cause of the tragedy. Later, the country's Human Rights Commission came to the same conclusion. Most of the victims died due to asphyxiation. The fatalities included 38 children. The country's Human Rights Commission specified 7 violations of human rights, including the excessive use of force and violation of children's rights.
Penembakan gas air mata merupakan penyebab utama.
Tear gas firing is the main cause of many deaths and injuries in the Kanjuruhan Stadium tragedy. Although the basic characteristic of tear gas is non-lethal, in certain conditions it can cause death.
Karena kandungan dominan CS gas, namun dalam kondisi tertentu
the use of tear gas to disperse crowds is a practice banned by football's international governing body, FIFA. Indonesia's national police fired an estimated 45 rounds of tear gas. Why? Apart from the excessive use of tear gas, other factors like locked doors, an overcapacity stadium, and failure to properly implement safety procedures exacerbated the deadly crush. The rights body also concluded that organizers had favored commercial interests over safety standards, despite warnings from Malang police. The match was high risk because of a historic rivalry between fans of the two participating clubs. The organizer had offered around 42,000 tickets for the match, beyond the stadium capacity of 38,000. So what's next for Indonesia? In its list of recommendations, the National Commission on Human Rights has urged the president to form an independent team to audit all stadiums across the country to ensure adherence to FIFA regulations.
We are asking the president to work with FIFA to get licenses and certifications for all aspects related to the game. If there are no changes in the immediate future, Indonesia Human Rights Body will recommend freezing the activity managed by the Football Association of Indonesia.
Indonesia's President Widodo also met FIFA President Gianni Infantino last month. He announced that Kanjuruhan Stadium would be demolished and rebuilt. Widodo also vowed the sport would be thoroughly transformed in the football-obsessed country. FIFA has set up an office in Indonesia to help overhaul safety measures as the country prepares to host the Under-20 World Cup next year. A month after the football disaster, Indonesia appeared to avoid another potentially deadly stampede. The three-day Indonesian music festival Berdendang Bergoyang was cut short due to overcrowding. The Jakarta police ordered that the event be shut down before its second day ended, following reports of multiple attendees fainting in the cramped venue. The organizers sold more tickets than the venue's capacity of 10,000, ending up with a crowd of over 20,000 attendees each on the first and second days. It shows that crowd disasters can be prevented if timely action is taken. Human history is riddled with man-made crowd disasters. India's bridge collapse, South Korea's Halloween crowd crush, and Indonesia's football stampede. These three tragedies in Asia claimed more than 400 lives in the month of October. Like other such disasters, these too were easily preventable. If all the stakeholders had been vigilant, they wouldn't have occurred in the first place. These tragedies serve as grim reminders of what happens when those responsible for ensuring safety are negligent. It's a wake-up call. But is anyone listening?